Oh, the glamours of show business. Okay. I wanted to start talking a little bit more about my collectibles, and I have a lot more toys that I really want to get showcased on the show. We're approaching the part in my cartoon journey where I have a lot of fond memories about toys and collecting toys, and growing up with different things like action figures and radio control cars and all these other motorized vehicles and stuff like that. I really want to start getting into that again. I think we touched on Captain Power at one time, and I really want to talk about those because those toys are particularly fascinating. While if anyone watched the episode, while Nintendo was going for the video game route, Mattel was trying something completely different, but still wanted to be somewhat interactive in terms of like getting kids to play with the TV somehow. And Captain Power was an amazing way, experience on that section, and I think that a lot of people will enjoy that as well. But what's new for 2019? I've got a lot of things on the go, and although I have a lot of work to do, on my regular, job and things like that, I still want to find time as much as I can to, do these videos and try and connect with as many people as I possibly can. This is my passion. I love talking about cartoons and love talking about toys and love talking about, the culture that surrounded the 70s, 80s, and 90s. This is the time when I grew up, and even in some ways, even though I wasn't alive, in the early 70s, I still have a connection towards that, and I do remember and still watch some of the older cartoons and older anime back in the day. Some of you may have noticed that my video posting has become a little bit infrequent, and I apologize for that. Unfortunately, life does get in the way sometimes, and it's not always your choice to actually not fulfill your obligations. I like to think that I would post at least twice a week, but lately it's been more like once every 2 weeks. And that's a real problem for me because I really do like to produce these videos. They are difficult to produce as well, so to everyone who's been wondering what's going on, it's just life, and I do apologize for that, but I do appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving me over and encouraging me to come back, and when is the next video coming out. These comments, I read them all, and I'm lucky that I don't have a very, very big following because I can actually take the time and go and comment to everybody, which is really great. So guys, keep them coming, keep the suggestions coming, and I really enjoy reading each and every one of your comments. It's great stuff. I'm hoping to actually try to lift up the production of my video so the quality is a little bit better. Lately, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've sort of tried my best to get the lighting as even as possible. In my earlier videos, you might have noticed that I pretty much just used the sun as a main light, and depending on certain videos, you can actually see the sunlight getting dimmer and brighter and lower, and it's really quite jarring. I noticed, and I've tried my best to try and get now decent lighting. It's very difficult as I'm not a professional. I don't do this for a living, but I've tried my best right now, and I'm hoping that you guys can see the results, and any feedback I can get, any suggestions you guys have would be awesome for me. So I'm always a student of things, and I love learning about these things as I go along, because I love doing cool stuff like this. It's just something I enjoy doing. So it's awesome. I want to do a lot more videos on like movie reviews as well. Now, I know there are a ton of movie reviewers out there, but for me, I want to talk about a lot of the retro and old school movies that I loved, and some of the campiest movies that I loved, like Excalibur and, The Beastmaster and, all these really cool sci-fi films, which a lot of people just don't remember, like The Wraith and things like that, some really cheesy, 70s and 80s, really cheesy movies that I'm so fond of. You know, I really want to start, you know, looking back at those and getting some wows and oh my gods and, you know, kinds of thing reactions. I'm hoping that's going to come through. But guys, this video has gone really, really long. I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for liking, subscribing, following what I do, and really encouraging me to keep going with this. You know, there are times where I really thought no one's really listening, or why should I keep going? I'm just, you know, not motivated to you know, do these things anymore. But each and every time I thought of that, somebody would comment in the comment section and start talking about their experiences with cartoons and their experiences with you know, old school movies or toys that I was talking about, and it really gave me that boost of energy and that drive to continue going forward, because, you know, I've always wanted to talk about these things with people who remember them. I always wanted to you know, meet with people who share the same love and interest that I do. And it's so amazing that, you know, in this day and age, we just connect over, you know, continents, or, you know, down in the States, you know, just on a whim. I remember, you know, back when I was a kid, it was like, you know, 50 cents per minute to talk to somebody, you know, in Wisconsin, or you know, you know, a dollar per minute to talk to somebody in the Philippines or Japan. So, you know, we'd literally have conversations where we'd be calling, you know, for Christmas, and you'd be talking to your aunt in the Philippines, and they'd be like, you know, your mom and your dad and, you know, whoever it was, they'd be talking for the most part, and they'd be like blah 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 for about 5 minutes. And then, because the first 5 minutes is a certain, like, a particular price, and then all of a sudden, the next minute and a half or whatever would be charged at like exorbitant rates. So what they would do is they would talk about for 5 minutes, you know, get everybody up to speed as to what we're doing, and then they would literally just like pass the phone to each and every kid that was in the room, saying, "Okay, say goodbye to your aunt, blah 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 blah. No, hi, I love you, blah 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 blah." It was just, you know, those funny little experiences that you used to have when you're growing up. And today, man, like we as you can hear, we have cell phones now. I mean, like, you know, that was just my cell phone. It's just literally, like, you know, it's telling me that I got a message. Instant messaging. We have, you know, we can talk to long distance like for hours without only paying like minuscule amounts of money. You know, we're in a time right now where everything is so accessible to us, and, you know, we're literally just a phone call away from each other, or we can even do face chat, like, you know, like FaceTime and things like that. Skype, you know, instant messaging, freaking, it's just an amazing time that we live in, I think. And it's funny how we do live in this great time, but at the same time, I want to go back and look at the way things used to be. I know it doesn't always make sense how channels are, but for me, I really wouldn't have it any other way, because I think that a lot of people are fascinated at the fact that, you know, oh, you couldn't actually make a phone call before, you had to use a payphone. And, you know, I'm going to do a whole retrospective on payphones one day. I really am. It's going to be one of those fascinating subjects. You know, I had to pay in, you know, 10, 15 cents, 25 cents to actually make a phone call. I think some people really have no concept of what that meant. Anyways, guys, I have a lot of things that I plan to do in 2019. And I really hope that everyone here is enjoying what I'm doing and appreciates my work. Guys, thank you ever so much for joining me on this journey, watching this channel grow, helping me to continue my journey, and listening to me, and remembering all these wonderful cartoons, anime, toys, and the culture of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I want to thank each and every one of you for everything that you've done, commenting, subscribing, liking, and of course, as always, geek proud. Yeah, just so that everyone is pretty much... I've never actually gotten any comments on this, but I did want to sort of say something. Probably some of you are even wondering what I mean by when I say geek proud. Well, you know what? It's something that... it's a phrase that me and my friends came up with years ago. And it's just... I remember as a kid, I didn't get much respect, you know what I mean? I was a nerdy guy, and I would get beaten up in school a lot, you know what I mean? But I sort of have this pride about being a geek as I kept going older and older, because there were things that I remembered and that a lot of my friends, you know, comic book geeks, you know, anime geeks, you know, we sort of started realizing that, you know, everyone's a geek. You can be into something. You can be into cars, you can be into comics, you can be into video games, you can be into anything you want. And you know what? You have your own little cliques and your own little groups. And you know what? Each and every one of us inside, deep inside, is some sort of geek. And is some sort of, you know, enthusiast in some way. And for me, you have to be proud about those types of things. So every single time I sign off all of my episodes, and I don't remember when I started it, but I always wanted to remember, and I always wanted to remind everybody, that you need to be geek proud. Check out some of the other episodes I've done. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter.